Very warm welcome, everybody, to the drivers' press conference ahead of the FIA Formula One Japanese Grand Prix. Usual format. A few questions from me at the top. We will then go to the broadcasters and then the print media. So let's get started. Closest to me, we have Pierre Gasly, then George Russell, Alex Albon, Max Verstappen, Yuki Tsunoda, and Carlos Sainz. Very warm welcome to you all. Yuki, please, can we start with you? Home race, just how special is this one for you?
Yeah, very special. I already felt I saw a lot of fans in front of the traffic lights, in front of my garage. Yeah, it's good to come back here. Very energetic, and hopefully, yeah, I can have a good race in front of them. You know, in front of cherry blossoms as well. You know, it's very beautiful. So, yeah, so far it's been a very good condition.
Any crazy gifts this year?
I saw like a mini tiny myself. I don't know, with helmet, racing suit. Maybe myself. Yeah.
You just saw yourself in the mirror.
Maybe, yeah. Actually, the size wasn't like that big.
Oh, is it? How big? How big was it?
Actually, like this big. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's literally at me. So very cute. Maybe I'll put something where like in bag or, you know, something like that. But lucky charm.
And Yuki, what can the fans expect from UNRB this weekend after what was a very strong weekend in Australia for you?
Yeah, so far it's very consistent for us. You know, last 3 tracks we consistently performing well around P10 and feeling confident. We had a bit of upgrade as well, so hopefully that works well. But it's probably more towards the other tracks, these upgrades. So I'm not sure it will work massively well, but yeah, still feeling optimistic. And yeah, points will be the main target.
All right. Best of luck with that. Thank you. Carlos, can we come to you now? Quick health update. Are you back to 100% fitness now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, been riding my bike this week. Stayed in Australia for a week and started going back to the gym. Still, obviously, not lifting heavy numbers like I used to do in the past, but at least I can get my training done, and I'm feeling back to 100%. Yeah.
And what about performance? Great weekend in Melbourne, obviously. Can you maintain that here at Suzuka?
Well, we'll see. No, I think it's important, like I've always said in the past, no, to turn the page quickly, in the good and in the bad. I think obviously coming from a good is more difficult to turn the page because you want to stay enjoying the moment. But I turned it on Monday, started focusing my training and being back as fit as possible for Japan. Also because it's going to be a challenging track for us. I think last year was one of our most challenging ones in reference to a Red Bull. We were, I think, 7 or 8 tenths off 4 or 5 months ago here. So it's time to see where we are this year and see if we can be at least closer and enjoy a bit more this amazing track than what we enjoyed it last year, because for me it's one of my favorite ones, if not my favorite.
All right, best of luck with that. Thank you. Max, can we come to you now? Can we talk about Honda first of all? They're celebrating 60 years in Formula One this year. It's been a busy week for you this week as a result. What's been the highlight so far?
The highlights so far with me and Honda, or being here?
Both, either.
Well, I guess winning races and championships together, that for sure is my highlight with Honda, and just being able to work with their people, you know. Yeah, a lot of great things that we have done already and things to come. But yeah, for me, being here in Japan is always very nice. Did a bit of skiing as well, and yeah, been around already for a couple of days, you know. So it's always good to be back here. And actually, I think I enjoyed even more around this time of the year, like early on in the year. And when you're anyway, you know, you're traveling quite far, you know, Australia, and then when you can go straight to Japan, I think it works out quite well.
Now, for the second Japanese Grand Prix in a row, you come here on the back of a tough weekend. Singapore last year, Melbourne last week. Just how much confidence have you got coming into this weekend?
Every year is different, but also, you know, last year we had a bit of a difficult weekend in Singapore. I think if you look at Melbourne performance-wise, I think we're quick, but we didn't finish the race, so that's not ideal. But our car normally likes the higher speed corners, so hopefully that we can show that again this weekend.
All right, best of luck with that. Thank you, Max. Alex, coming to you now. Can we talk spare cars? Because after what happened in Melbourne, how is the lack of a spare car this weekend going to change your approach to the weekend?
No, not at all. I think we've been like that since Bahrain, and it doesn't really change anything. So for us, obviously, it will be this weekend in China that we don't have a spare car. But as I said, the mindset's the same as it was from race one.
And in terms of performance, you guys struggled a little bit with tyres in Melbourne. Do you think the return to harder compounds this weekend will help Williams?
I think it was more degrading that caught us out. Obviously, with the limited track time, would have most probably done things a little bit different come Sunday. What we've seen so far actually is the car's been behaving pretty well over the races, better than last year. Race 1, race 2, I think Melbourne was maybe a little bit more like it was last year, but I think we made a step in race pace generally, so hopefully more of the same here this weekend.
All right, best of luck with that. Thank you. George, coming to you now. First of all, any ill effects from your crash in Melbourne? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling all good.
Thank you. Look, let's talk about this weekend and the performance of your car. It seems to fluctuate from race to race, sometimes session to session. So how confident can you be coming to Suzuka?
Yeah, it's still obviously early days in the season. I think there's a clear trend where we know our strengths in the car, our weaknesses, definitely performing stronger in the low-speed corners, struggling a bit in the high-speed corners, of which there's more of in Jeddah, more of in Melbourne, more of in Suzuka. These are the faster circuits of the season. There's still plenty to understand. So, as I said, still early days. We know we're not where we want to be, but everybody's working really hard to, improve the correlation, get a bit closer to what we're seeing at the factory on the simulator, and find some performance.
You've been back at the sim, driving the sim back in Brackley since Melbourne. Did you make any breakthroughs there?
I think every time you're back, you are understanding things further, and there's never going to be a silver bullet for any team. You're chipping away at it. You want to find big breakthroughs. You want to find big gains. It's rare that these happen these days in Formula One. The level's so high. Everybody's moving forward, but we're confident that we're going to make another step in the right direction. Will it be enough is another question, but as we said, it's still early days in the season.
All right. Thank you, George. Good luck this weekend. And finally, Pierre, thank you for waiting. Look, first updates of the season for Alpine here. What are you expecting?
Well, that's nice to have this first upgrade on the car. It was planned already before the season started, so it's sort of the following the sort of development plan that we had already in place. We don't expect it to be major. We know it's not gonna bring us where we want to be, but it's a first step in the right direction. So definitely looking forward to see what it brings.
But can you hope for Q2, for example, on Saturday?
Yeah, I don't want to give any specific targets. We know it should be a small step of performance on the car, which we obviously need from where we are today. But we need more and we'll need more. But definitely, it's positive to see that these first upgrades are coming on the car, and more should follow in the next few months.
All right, look, best of luck this weekend. Let's open this to the floor now. Next segment, broadcasters. David.
David Croft, Sky Sports F1. Let's start with Carlos. Congratulations on the win in Australia. Another win always looks good on the CV. So how are the job negotiations going for next season? How many teams have you spoken to, and what's your mindset? And are you anywhere near a resolution?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Talking obviously to a few, because that's what my management team and myself should do when I don't have a job for next year yet. So yeah, we're talking to pretty much all of them. It's just a matter of obviously going more into detail and seeing the more realistic options and what are the best options for me and for my future, which I don't have any news for you or any nothing to say here today. The only thing I would say is that, yeah, obviously it's time now to to speed up a bit everything, and hopefully we can get it sorted sooner rather than later.
Thank you. Okay, next one.
Nelson Valkburg, Viaplay Netherlands. Mostly for George, this one, but for the group as well. A lot's been said about brake testing last week. Is there a discussion to be had amongst yourselves about what is legal, what is normal, what you can do and what you can't do? Do you expect more discussions to be had for you, George, and also for Max, possibly?
Yeah, I think it was obviously a bit of a strange situation that happened last week. As I said at the time, totally caught by surprise. I was actually looking at the steering wheel, making a switch change in the straight, which we all do across the lap. And when I looked up, I was in Fernando's gearbox, and it was sort of too late. And then next thing, I know that I'm in the wall. So I think if it were not to have been penalised, it would have really opened a can of worms for the rest of the season, and in junior categories, of saying, are you allowed to brake in a straight? Are you allowed to slow down, change gear, accelerate, do something semi-erratic? I don't take anything personally with what happened with Fernando, and it probably had bigger consequences than it should have. But as I said, if it went unpenalised, can you just brake in the middle of a straight? I don't know. So, yeah, nothing more to say, really.
Yeah, we'll discuss it in the driver's briefing.
Has anyone got anything to add? Carlos, for example.
Nothing to add. I just think, apart from all that, I think that corner needs to be reviewed, which is already something I said in last driver's briefing, but it's not the first time that after a collision, the car comes back into the track, and it's a corner that we're doing 250 kph, and it's blind, and I just don't like the last few incidents that we've seen in this corner, also in other categories. It just doesn't give me a very good feeling. It's a great corner, don't get me wrong. I love driving it in a qualifying lap. It's just when it comes to racing, there's been just too many examples of a car coming back onto the track and being very narrow there, and I just think it's a corner that needs to be a bit reviewed.
Okay, thank you. Next one, yeah, Diego.
To Diego Mejia, Fox Sports Mexico. Question to Max. Were you able to get to the bottom of the brake issue you had, and what can you share with us? Why didn't you have some previous indication about what was going on?
Yeah, I think we saw already some signs on Saturday where things were maybe not looking like they should have done. Of course, then now in hindsight, you can say that it was coming from the brake caliper, but we couldn't find any, let's say, fault with the car, which in a way, I mean, it's of course always bad to retire, but of course when you have a fault in maybe the build spec or whatever, then it's a bit worse. So we'll just move on from there and learn from it. That it doesn't happen again, but normally it shouldn't.
Max, do you have concerns about it coming into this weekend?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rodriguez from DAZN Spain. A question to Carlos. First of all, congratulations for the victory. Even in Australia, without the problem in Verstappen Max car, looks like your car was super fast. Are you bringing any upgrades in the car this weekend?
Yeah, thank you. I think it's true to say that in Australia we looked very strong. But I think normally in these cases you just need to get the average of the first three races. And I think the average is we're still a couple of tenths of the Red Bull, and we need probably an upgrade, especially in tracks like Suzuka, to fight them. I think the job that the team has done this year is extremely good because the car is a very good step forward. It's just we need more of the same, if we want to go for the wins in tracks like maybe Japan, and there is no big upgrade coming here. We have, I think, a very small thing in the car at the rear, but it will come later in the season, and I hope that is another good step in the same direction.
Thank you. Yep, Nelson.
Question for Pierre. Pierre, everybody loves racing here, but you did the junior category here. You did Super Formula. What makes Japan so specific and so special for a driver to race?
Well, I think we get to see it already from the moment we get to the airport or train station or even on a Thursday on a racetrack. I think this place is very unique. You got fans, spectators in the grandstand already on a Thursday, just appreciating the work from the mechanics, building the car, putting all the parts together, and their passion is just unbelievable. They're really showing their support in a very unique way. Usually when I come here, I understood straight away when I came from Super Formula, got to come here with a half-empty luggage, because you leave that place with hundreds of toys and gifts that you receive from the fans. So it's personally a country I love, from their values, their respect, very different to Europe and what you see back home. So it's definitely unique, and the track itself is one of the fastest in the calendar. Really makes you feel the power and the downfalls of a Formula One car. So it's definitely top of my list. Yeah.
Thanks, Pierre. All right, another one.
Yeah, I have a question to Max. In this ground effect years, how you evaluate the job, and how good is Adrian Newey for this new car?
That's me.
Yeah, yes, for you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have a lot of people working on the car, right? So it's a whole team effort that has to come together, and everyone's ideas they get taken into account, and you build the car that we have today. So yeah, for sure, having someone part of the team like Adrian, I think is a massive boost for everyone. And many people, they work together, to achieve the car we have today. So I do like to drive them. To be honest, I do prefer the older cars to drive because they're a bit lighter, a bit more agile. But I'll drive whatever the rules are, right? So just deal with it.
Thanks, Max. All right, another one.
Diego Mejia, Fox Sports Mexico. Question for George. George, did you get to speak to Fernando after his penalty? Was there?
It's history now.
Thank you. Another one. Yeah. Any more? Okay. Let's move on to the print media now. Who's got the first one?
Ronald Fording, motorsport.com. It's a question to Max. You already said last year that it's a pity, a shame to see Honda go from 2026 onwards, but there was no other option. But just in general, how special do you rate your relationship with Honda? And secondly, how does it differ to previous engine suppliers you've used?
Honestly, the relationship has always been really, really good. And of course, moments that you never forget for me, or the first podium already, to see the happiness in everyone's faces, after, a few difficult years. For me, that was really special to witness. And then, of course, the first win. It's just all these moments that you have lived through, and championship. I will always remember them. And also, the very bright people that you're working with as well. And also, like Pierre said before, their culture, you have a lot of respect for it, how they approach things. And it's been really, really nice to be able to work with them. Of course, at one point our relationship will end in terms of, working with the team, but that doesn't mean that, that's that. I mean, there's a lot more to it. And for sure, for me, Honda, I'll always be a big Honda fan. Let's see. A lot of great memories. And apart from the other engine manufacturers, I mean, they're all great in their own way. But of course, naturally, I think I've had a bit more history now with Honda.
Thanks, Max. Yeah, Fred.
Fred Ferric, L'Équipe. Question to Max and to Pierre. It will be 10 years that Jules Bianchi suffered the tragic accident. What are your memories of that day, and what kind of legacy Jules left to Formula One?
Yeah, I think it's those days where you don't really want to think about too much. Personally, of course, I didn't really know Jules that well, but of course we all have friends in common that did. He was, of course, incredibly talented, and for sure he would have achieved incredible things in Formula One. I think everyone was pretty sure about that. That was I think a very bad day for everyone in the sport, of course. But I think we also again learned a lot about safety that day. Unfortunately, it seems like, sometimes these kind of things need to happen for safety to improve, and it's of course not what you like to see, but that's how it seems to work in life. But yeah, I do find it nice as well that he will always be remembered. There are things in his name, charities like the go-kart races. His dad also still organizes, to always remember his name, because he definitely deserves that.